Hello. Hi, everyone. This is Francine. I just wanted to thank y'all for tuning in today. I'm so glad you're tuned in today. It is a time for My Two Cents. And y'all know My Two Cents is a spinoff of a Autumn is Here podcast. And what we do is that we discuss the last show that we had because when I interview people, they're speaking, and I'm not giving any kind of opinion on some. There's sometimes they touch on some points that we need to expand on, and also we want to hear your opinion and your insight into it also. So today we're talking about the unbreakable bond. Hello, everyone. Welcome to My Two Cents. How are you? I hope everybody had a good day today. We're here at My Two Cents. As y'all know, that's a spinoff of Autumn is Here podcast. And what we do here is we talk about the last episode. There we have people that we interview, and they give their story and they share their story and their experience and stuff like that. But sometimes we don't go into some of the subjects, and sometimes they hit some really, really good points, and some pain points that they hit. So I just wanted you to, I want y'all to participate. I want y'all to be on and ask questions. This is a place where you ask questions. If there's a point that you want to point out that you like, that was very poignant to you, then absolutely, absolutely, please make sure you give ask any questions or give any opinion, whatever you thought of the show. Hopefully we're able to answer your questions today. But in my 2 cents, it's my 2 cents, and I actually get a chance to even add something to what was said in the interview or expand on some things. So that's really good, and I want other people to also. Now, even if you haven't saw the show Autumn is Here podcast, the latest show, even if you haven't seen it, you still can give your opinion. You still can ask some questions and listen in, and let's hear about the subject that we're talking about. And maybe you have something to say also about it, or maybe it'll relate to you. Today, we're going to talk about my last show, which is Unbreakable Bonds, a caregiver story. A caregiver story. We have so many caregiver stories, and they're so different. And we are always able to um, you know, something new. It's always something new, something new. But even if something is new, it may not be your story, but it may reach other people, and other people may go through it. So that's why we encourage people to share their caregiving story. And you learn so much from it, from their experience. And this story was about an unbreakable bond, a caregiver story. It was about Hope Maxwell, who not only took care of her mom, but she also took care of her sister. And her sister was actually a year apart from her mother. So they were both older people, and she had to deal with them, and they had different situations. They had different illnesses. Her mom had congestive heart failure. She had a bad heart, and she had to deal with things like that. But yet she could feed herself and do things like that. And her sister, who came to live with her, she had started having dementia, and she was forgetting things, and she wasn't able to do certain things. They had to really pay more attention to her and help her out. But her mom and her sister was very, very close. So they ended up staying together in Hope bought a house. But instead of having separate rooms, they ended up living together in the same room because they were very, very close. And they ended up trying to help each other. Eventually, her sister went blind, so that even she needed more care for that. So, can you imagine having to take care of one parent or one person, and then having to take care of another one with a different needs at the same time? Now that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of care, and that's a lot of love. Just so people know, Autumn is Here is a podcast that I started because I know people need some information. They needed some help. My mom had Alzheimer's, and I didn't have any information or any support, or to know where I got to could get support at. So it was very difficult for me. And I realized that some people might need some extra information, some extra help. So that's why I started my podcast, Artemis Here. So that's where we get these stories from. We have interviews and people give us their story. So let's get back to Hope's story. I don't know if any of you online have heard of her story or have listened to her story yet, but you can always go back and listen to it on YouTube or listen on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, Hope's story, it's very interesting because she is she works, she has a job, and she has her responsibilities. She had two children, and now she had to take care of a few people, um, both her mom and her sister. You know, some of the points that came out of there was very interesting. How you have to change your life, how you have to adjust your life, how you learn so much about the medical industry and the help, and if they have help or if they're able to get the benefits that they need. Um, who's going to pitch in? You know, luckily she had a loving, caring family, and her brother showed up, and her brother pitched in, and he came. He lived in another state, but yet he visited very often to help her. But going through it, you learn so many things that you thought you would know, but you didn't know. And going through it, she learned so many things that she shared with us. She shared with us about the services that you're allowed to get, how services are sometimes limited depending on your insurance or depending on, the cost of it. You know, her mom, who didn't work while she was in this country, she came over, she's a citizen, but she didn't work. She was able to get Medicaid and all the benefits, and Medicare and all the benefits and stuff like that. But her aunt, who was a nurse for 45 years, had dementia and she was going blind, and she couldn't get the services because she had some income and things like that, so she couldn't get services. And you have to think about that when you're taking care of someone, and when you're planning, you have to think about that. You have to think about how you're able to take care of people, and what their benefits are. That's one of the reasons why we do Artemis Here, because you want people to start thinking about it ahead of time. We don't want a crisis to happen and then you have to fumble around and see if this person has enough benefits, see what benefits are covered, see what things you need to get. If you're not familiar with taking care of somebody, you may not know what the support is. You may not know what the aid is. You may not understand that. So it's really hard to do that. So her experience through this is eye-opening to her, and she wanted to share her story so she can let people know that these things happen, and they happen suddenly. It doesn't just happen overnight. It happens suddenly, and when it happens, you know you just got to kind of dive in. And if you dive in, sometimes you may make some mistakes. Sometimes you may not be able to understand all the paperwork and all the things that are happening. And also, it's very important to understand the disease, to understand what your person is going through so you can able to help them more. So that's what we are talking about. We're talking about the show. I don't know if anybody out there has seen the show, or it was on this Sunday. You can still look at it at any time, but if you've seen the show, please let us know. Let us see you. Let's say something. Let us know where you're at. If you're tuning in from another place, if you're tuning in, just let us know what's going on. And we'll just shout you out and say hello to you, and let us know any questions you might have, or if you're in that situation. Now we have here. Hi, from No Ceiling Network. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Hello, hello. Listen, you did so good.
Oh, okay.
I was listening. I was
Uh,
listening. Hi everybody. I'm excited to be here. I miss y'all. Hey Lizette.
how is
Lizette
it?
said she saw it.
Good, good. I hope it was helpful to you. And make sure when y'all see it, if you know anybody who might need it, just share it with them. Share the show with them. Um, it was a very interesting show because you never know what people are going through, and you never know how you come out. Hope had to sacrifice the things that she had to do. One of the things, she had hurt herself in an accident. She had hurt her leg in an accident, and she needed an operation, and she needed to get I believe it was a knee replacement. She had to wait till she took care of them until she could do that, because who would do it if she couldn't do it? Like she had to wait till she was,
Mhm.
was able to do it for herself, so she had to wait on her care
Yeah.
until she was able to do that. And that's a sacrifice, and a lot of people don't realize how much the sacrifice is for you to do that. So blessings to her that she was able to do it, and now that's what she's going through. She took care of knee, and she had some time, and she did that. So you never know what you're going through, and different things like that, what you're going to go through if you become a caregiver. So we like to tell people that, plan ahead of time, talk to your parents, talk to your older relatives and seniors, talk to your children, talk to your family
Mhm.
members, let them know um, where your medical coverage is, what it covers, what you have, what you don't have. Even it's better to look into stuff now. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was able to watch this episode as well. And, just a little, nugget. Hope is one of my friends, and she shared this story with me before, but didn't know the intricacies of her story, like
Hmm.
everything that she went through. And I want to, shout out two things. First of all, hey, everybody that's on. You got a few people watching today. Hello.
Hi. Hi. Hi,
Um
Raven. Hi.
Hey, as you're watching, guys, just go ahead and like it, love it, share it with somebody else who you think will need it, because I know for sure this particular talk is going to encourage somebody. So definitely share this. And hey, everybody. Um, but I wanted to share two things. One is thank you for providing this space for people to tell their stories, because if she didn't have this space, I'm sure she would have, told her story to friends like me and other people that she encounters, right? But actually being in a space that's dedicated to sharing your story in the hopes that someone else will learn from it, that's a
Mhm.
different thing. And I
Right.
think the way that she expressed her story, like just sharing the intricacies of it, and like the ins and outs of everything that she was going through,
Yeah.
she did that very well. But I think it was also because this was a space for that, so thank you for
Right.
providing that
Oh,
space for people. And then the other thing I wanted to share and point out is that um her story was just very touching. It was
mhm,
very touching, like even though she wasn't overly emotional when she was sharing it, even though it happened pretty recently. It was just, you could feel the intensity of everything she had to go through.
mhm, mhm,
And I think that really it resonated with me, and I think it will resonate with others. And so
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that stuck out to me
Yeah.
about that show. But everybody else who watched, let us know what part stuck out to you, what resonated with you. What do you remember about the episode? And if you haven't watched it yet, please make sure you go and watch it, because it was
Awesome.
very much a story of a caregiver, but it was also a love story of a mom and a daughter, and a love story of sisters. And
Sisterhood. Yeah. Yeah.
oh my goodness, yeah, it was just, yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Okay. So listen, hi, hello, hi, Lizette. She definitely did all she could out of love. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could tell the love. You can feel the love,
Yeah.
and it was just like you just jump in and you just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And there was a lot of responsibility and a lot of sacrifice, but she just did it. So that's a blessing in itself. But you never know if you're going to be ready to do that or if you can do that. Everybody
Mhm.
can't. And that's another thing about planning. If you know that you're not the person, be honest and say,
Mm.
listen, this may happen to mom or dad or auntie or uncle or whatever. Get together with your cousins, get together with your sisters and brothers and say, you know what, I don't think I'm the one. Maybe I'll send the money, or maybe I'll, take them to the doctor every now and again. But I'm not the one to take care of them from day in and day out. It is something to
Mhm.
take care of somebody from day in and day out, especially adult.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that Raven is saying is she says she lost her mom and sister very close.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
that's tough. That was my thing, was that my concern was like the the heaviness of taking care of them and then losing them so close, and then you're so close to them, and all this love, and then you kind of like, oh my God, you put everything into, and they die so close together. that was so heavy. I was like really concerned with her emotions on that. Like, how do you deal with that? But one thing she said that stuck out was that we lived the best way we could
Mm-hmm.
with so
Mm-hmm.
much love, the best way we could right here. So even though life was different, she still was able to adjust and still live, not just, struggle along, but live. And that I
Yeah.
thought was beautiful. I thought that was
I
beautiful.
love that. Well, we have an amazing surprise today because we don't always get this, but our guest is on the chat today. So, hey, Hope. Hey, Hope. Welcome to the
Hi, Hope.
chat. Thank
Hi.
you so much. And
Thank
I think
you.
she was referring to when you were talking about understanding if you're not the one, be honest about it.
Mhm.
And Hope says that there's no shame, no reflection on the love. We just aren't all built for it. And that
That's
is
true.
true.
That's
That
very
is true.
That's very true. We're not all built for it. My thing is like, if you're not, don't take it on, and you can't do it. You
Hmm.
can't do it emotionally. You don't want to sacrifice what you have to sacrifice. You don't want to, adjust your schedule. Or you can't adjust your job. You can't adjust your schedule. Whatever it is. My thing is, be honest, because
Yeah.
everybody's not the same. But while you realize that you can't do it or you're not going to do it, start looking for others, start selecting others, or say what part you can do. Everybody can't do
Hmm.
everything, you know but say what part you can do. So this way you'll know, okay, well, we're going to need this. Well, maybe we do need some outside help. Maybe we do need a home attendant. you know
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
yeah,
And later on in her story, she was sharing how she did end up, getting some help and some assistance.
yeah,
Um, and one thing that really stuck out to me is that, even though she was able to get that assistance, she talked about how, and Hope, I hope you're okay with me saying she, you right here. You're right here. I'll say Hope. Hope talked about, um, even though she was able to get one person to care for her mom and her sister, she really needed more than that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
because of how everything was working. And I think you touched on that earlier about
Mhm.
how there were resources for her mom, some resources,
Right.
but not really a lot of
Right.
resources for her sister.
Right. Her
Um,
sister had to pay for stuff because her sister was a nurse for all of these years. And you know what happens if you have something, you don't get anything from the city or the state or medical, whatever. So you have to account for that. And that's a lot. Because if it's you know, when we get older, sometimes it's a big illness that
mhm.
money, you know, you'd be surprised how you can drain out your account just by an illness. So that's one of the things we have to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hope was saying, go ahead and tell it, because it's all right. Go ahead and tell it. Listen, I'm gonna tell it, Hope, because
Yeah.
it's just one day, Hope. Listen, hopefully you're thinking about writing a book, okay? Because the story is just, and I know I'm saying it like it's a story, but this is real life. But I think it's captivating. It's something that we all can learn lessons from. And one thing that you were talking about when it comes to her sister, working and making an income, and then
Mhm.
when it turns around to her needing care, she didn't receive everything that she needed to receive. I remember you guys talking about, oh, Hope said yes, Medicaid versus Medicare. Yes.
Mhm.
I remember you all talking about the fact that her sister needed to liquidate all her assets
Mhm.
so that she could receive care. That was jarring. That was jarring. And it's really relevant to the time that we're in right now. Lizette made a comment too. I'm gonna put it up there in just a sec. But it's really relevant to the time we're in right now with all of the government, holds on spending and all of these
Mhm.
different things. Like, this is, a system that people have been putting money into for years, right? And it seems to be collapsing. Like, it
Mhm.
seems to not be doing what it was supposed to do, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have any insight on that, or want to share your 2 cents on that?
Well, the thing of it is that we tend to go through life and think it's going to stay the same, and it's not.
Mm,
Um, and we don't know, like, people don't plan ahead, and they assume that, of course, if you work, you put into the system, you should be the one that gets. We
mm-hmm.
all know people are going to get older. We all know people are retired. The government, the city, the state, everybody knows that people are going to retire, that people are going to get older, that when you get older, you need more care, you need more, you get more illnesses, you need more help. We all know that. So
Hmm.
why aren't these things just in place for us? Especially if we work, we should be able to um, have something that we can take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
And we have to keep that in mind, that you might be able to take care of yourself if you remain healthy, you know
Hmm.
throughout your older years. But if you don't, if you have a sickness where you need an operation, where you need certain medications, where you need people to take care of you, that can drain your account and everything that you have, your retirement and everything.
Hmm.
So that is scary to think about. But those things, like look into long-term care. If you look at long-term disability, if you look into that, then though it cost, if you were able to, if you got a illness that you really needed a lot of attention, a lot of help and things like that, then the benefit would be worth it. You know what I mean? And one thing she said, I don't want my children to have to, she said she knows that her children would take care of her, would give up everything to take care of her, and she doesn't want that. So she's looking into long-term disability or long-term care because she wants to be able to have the money to say, okay, if something should happen to me, if I need a home attendant and you can't, or if I, I'm so ill that I need 24-hour service, you know, we are covered. And that's
Yeah.
something that we have to look into early in life to make sure that, okay, we're covered. Um,
Yeah, is it a case? And I think we've talked about this before about the long term care and what the differences look like when you go into a nursing home, or if you go into another place that might be a little nicer, or whatever the case may be. What those costs are. We talked about that on a previous
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
But I think what I keep coming back to is, do we have to just prepare ourselves to do it ourselves? Like I just feel like we can't depend on the government to do it for us.
No, we can't. We absolutely can't depend on the
Yeah.
government to do it for us because it's
Yeah.
it's not like that here. If you notice that other countries will take care of their elderly people. Their thing is to keep you at home. There are countries that have things in place to keep you at home as long as possible. There are
Hmm.
places where they give you some supplementary income so you can keep your parent at home as long as possible, because that's better. It's better for all around. It's better for them and their health and their environment. They're in the same environment. So getting some long-term disability helps you to be able to maybe keep them at home longer, as opposed to um, not, to having to choose, which is very hard, to put them in a nursing home and put them, that is very hard. That's a very hard choice to do. So it gives you some time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
depends on the illness. It depends on how much you put in there, how much, but it gives you some time that, okay, we can breathe a minute. Mommy can stay home for a couple of years. You never know what's going to happen then, but you cannot depend on the government. And Hope said that you can't depend on the government. You can't, you know,
Absolutely.
and you want people to be at home as long as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you go into a nursing home, they take everything you got anyway. And like she said,
Hmm.
she wanted to burn the place down.
I was just about to talk about
She
that. Hope
wanted to burn the
said,
place down
listen.
when she saw how her mom was, because she had bed sores and stuff like that. But she also said they can't. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough staff. And that was my experience. I saw my mom, she was taken care of pretty well, but for the most part, because she was in there for a long, long time. And then when you're in there for a long time, administration changes. So sometimes
Hmm.
the care changes. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So you
Hmm.
got to be careful of that. But they would, because she was on a dementia floor, she couldn't go. She couldn't go anywhere. So they were all the same nurses and stuff that took care of them. So they got to know them and stuff like that, and that was great. And they
Hmm.
took care of them. But when I was there a lot, I saw that they couldn't take care of everybody. They just didn't have enough people, enough attention. There are people that have so many different various needs. They cannot take care of everybody. So you got to be careful with that. And that's why you want to keep your person at home, as much as possible. I think Lizette had a question or something.
Yeah, no, she mentioned something about letting your village know. that you
It's
need
important to
need
reach out
them.
to.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, you have to let people know. And that's another thing. One thing Hope said at the end, she said, don't suffer in silence.
Mm,
She said
mm,
her community helped her. You
mm-hmm.
know, a lot of times caregivers suffer in silence. They don't want to bother people, or they feel ashamed, or they just exhausted, you know. So they don't want to, let people know what they're going through. And that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing. Let people know what you're going through. You don't know what kind of help people will bring to you, you know? You don't
Yeah,
know what kind of help people will bring to you. It is, yes, it's very important to have a village, and that's what I mean. Start thinking about that ahead of time. If something should happen to mom, dad, auntie, uncle, who are the people that are going to step up? Is it going to be the church? Is it going to be my neighbors? Is it going
mm-hmm.
to be a sister or brother to them, or somebody? My children might. It might be their
Yeah,
grandchildren.
mhm.
The village can be anybody. It doesn't have to be a
Absolutely,
blood relative. So that was one of the
absolutely.
things. So it was so many points in that
So
interview that
many.
I really loved. And I hope that people share it and helps other people to deal with their situation and deal with them, going through possibly being a caregiver. You know,
Absolutely,
you never know. You never know when it's you.
absolutely.
You know. So
Yeah, no, so I wanted to share about Hope was talking about her village, and I want to say this. I consider Hope one of the strong friends, okay? Hope has her stuff together. And a lot of times I'm pretty sure, that she may not always call on other people, but it was beautiful to hear her talk about when she did call on her village. I remember
yeah.
her saying about her mom um didn't really want to let go because
Uh
she
huh.
was like, who's gonna care for you, who's gonna be there for you? And Hope reassured us as she talked to you that her entire village showed up and showed
Yes.
out, and they were
Yes.
there. So again, I reiterate what you said, like,
Mhm.
yes, Hope laughing at me talking about, yeah, you are the strong friend, girl, yes you are. uh but Virginia said, great session, I'm in the middle of planning for myself and my husband. Nice, I
Yes.
love
Yes.
that. you
Yes. Start
know
planning now. Start planning now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Francine, I always say this because I haven't been a caregiver yet, but you always say either you're gonna be cared for or you're gonna be a caregiver. But I love to pull out the life lessons in all this because
Mm,
even though we're talking about caregivers, um, these are actually things that we should have in place just for regular self-care and just like being aware in life of the things
mm,
that we need to consider, right? And I
mm,
think sometimes when we're faced with obstacles and something tough like being a caregiver for a parent or a loved one,
mhm,
those things are magnified. If
mhm.
we were doing good at our self-care and doing good at handling these things that may come up in life,
Mhm.
then when you come in that to that position of being a caregiver, it's a little bit smoother, you
You're more
know.
prepared. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're more
but if
prepared.
you yeah, but if you
Right.
haven't been taking care of yourself, or either um it just wasn't a big focus of yours, if you were always the strong friend, if you were all,
Mhm.
sometimes it's a tougher path when you have to go into this journey of caring for someone. So for those of you who are not caregivers just yet and you're watching, like, just pull these life lessons from Autumn is Here, because they're there for you to pull out for sure.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely come in and make sure that you know that um, there is always hope and support, and there are other agencies and stuff like that supports also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just know that you can reach out to other agencies that supports depending on the illness that your person has, depending on your situation. Don't be afraid to get help from any kind of agency that's out, like Caring Kind for dementia and Alzheimer's for dementia, and different organizations. New York State Department of Aging has different help, and also adult daycare centers and things like that where you can get a respite. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you're going, crazy, because it's just too much. It's just too much. And
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to say it's too much. Sometimes
Absolutely.
take a breath and say it's too much and reach out for some help. you know.
Absolutely. And make sure you visit autumnishere.com. We have some resources over there, as well as a community board that lets you know what's going on in different communities as we receive the information. So it's www.autumnishere.com. And make sure you listen to Autumn is Here on
Yeah,
Sundays at 3 p.m., wherever you
yeah,
listen to your podcast. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Hi, Vanessa. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, it's
Hey.
we're trying to get shows that, I mean, we want to cover everything, because I didn't know everything that I needed, until after I was like, oh, I could have used that. I could have used that. You know what I mean? So you kind of cover everything because everybody may need something different. So whatever it is that possibly somebody might need, that they're caring for somebody, or the actual caregiver may need some information, some self-help, something like that, therapy, whatever it is, that's what we want to bring on the show. Whatever it is that can help anyone who is a caregiver or caring for somebody or needs care, and especially for the aging community, because we tend to think you get a certain age and they're forgotten about, and it shouldn't be. And there are a lot of people who are alone, especially in New York, and they're
Mhm.
75, 80, and they don't know what to do, and they don't have anybody to help them. So if
Mm.
nothing else, give them information so they can
Yes,
reach
I
out.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Francine, listen, you're being honored soon, and I want them to come see about you.
Oh Lord.
Francine has been, listen, she's been keeping it quiet, but Francine
Evelyn
has
always
been
has something going on.
no. Francine has been a guest on my podcast at least twice. It has not been released yet, but she has been such an amazing guest, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. But Sunday, February 16th, she's being honored for all of the things that she has done for the caregiver community and for those who are aging. And I want y'all to come see about Francine. She's gonna be on the stage speaking and doing all the things.
Oh
So look
Lord.
out for that information soon. And Francine, do
Okay.
you have anything else coming up?
So have anything else coming up? Not really. Are you going to tell me that I have something? Because you always surprise me. Do I have something?
Well,
On
you're
my
gonna be
show.
out and about in the community. I know there's
Yeah, I'm
a
gonna. Yeah,
community health screening happening on that same day.
yeah. There's a health screening on the
Yeah.
16th at Cornerstone Baptist Church here in Brooklyn, New York. There's a health screening on that day, and I probably will be there maybe in the beginning, and then I'll have uh, the other honoring thing on
And it's
February
gonna be a
16th.
party, okay? So you
Okay.
go there, do your health
Okay.
screening, and then come to the party with us, okay? I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Francine, you're doing such an amazing job. This episode with Hope was just a testament to your consistency and how you're just connecting with people and allowing them to tell their story and give their expertise. So we love it. And as I always do, I'm gonna leave the floor for you to give the final goodbyes. I missed y'all. I'm gonna say that again. Hey everybody, I missed y'all. Make sure you check in every Thursday. We'll be here at 8 p.m. And I'll talk to y'all later. But Francine, I'll leave you the floor so you can say bye.
Okay. Well, listen, everybody. I hope that if you have not seen the show that I did Sunday, please, please see it. It's Unbreakable Bonds, a caregiver story. And it was, the way it was told was that you can tell the bond was not going to be broken, no matter what would have happened in that situation. Hope would have stepped in and did miracles, just like she said her mother said. No matter, Hopi would fix it. I never remember when you said that, Hope. So, so that's what it was about. And I just want people to be able to tune into Autumn is Here and to get whatever information that you can, and please share it with someone. And those of you who may have some stories and may have some caregiver stories, or something that you want to talk about, or healthcare, if you're in healthcare and there's something that you want to share with people. And a lot of times, if we're not in it, we don't know about it. So sometimes there are people who are working in the medical industry, and they know about stuff that is coming up, or they know about things that people are not taking advantage of. Please, please, come on. Autumn is Here. Let us know. Tell us about it, because people need support and people need help, and it's always something going on, and it's always something else is happening, and other people know and we don't know. So that's what I want. That's one of the main things I want. I want people to understand and get all the information, and you pick and choose whatever you need. So please tune into Autumn is Here on Sundays, and let us know what you think. Like Subscribe, share, and also look at my website. I have my blogs I put up there and different things from the community. So please check it out. Read my blogs. Give your opinion. Say whatever you need to say. I hope you like them. I hope that my community board gives you what's going on in the community. When people give me stuff, I try to put it up there. So please check out autumnishere.com and let me know what you think. Okay. So thank you all for coming tonight and being here. I really appreciate it. I thank you for um, just being good followers of what I'm putting out there. I know it's not the most popular thing, that's out there, but it's a very necessary thing. It's very necessary information for everyone. So please allow me to continue to do Ornaments here, and please subscribe. You have friends, have them subscribe. They don't have to look at it every week, but go to YouTube and subscribe. Go to wherever, subscribe, because that helps me to be able to get more interviews and even reach more people out there to give different stories about a lot of different things. So please subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your children. Just hit the button for subscribe. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, I had to hop back on real quick because I forgot to mention I got on my Autumn's here purple today. Okay. All
Okay.
right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Goodbye. Have a good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody.